Hello and welcome back to this next tutorial in HTML. So let's have a look at some of the other tags you might need to create a website. So I mentioned earlier you've got different H tags, so you've got H1, H2 and so on down to H5, and they're smaller headings. So if I put in here best games for PC and then close my tag as I've done before with the /, and this will basically create a smaller heading. Okay. Now what I might also want to do is create like a bullet point list, which could be quite useful. So we've got two ways of doing that. We can do an unordered list, and this will create bullet points next to line broken items. Now to get the different lines within my sort of bullet pointed list, I need to also use the li tag, so that's like a list item, and I'm going to put Subnautica as one of the best games. So Subnautica, and then to close it I just do the same as I have been doing previously, which is the name of the tag, and then close it off. Okay, so that puts in Subnautica. I haven't spelt it correctly, but for this example that's fine. Then I can do another line, and let's do, I don't know, another game. Just do a really old one, gun, and then close the li off. And I can keep going with this and make as many as I want. So I could do another one, li, and just do, I don't know, Resident Evil as another one. Spell that one right, li, close it off, and I get like a whole sort of bullet point, or I'll end up with a whole bullet point list. And then in the end, when I've finished my list, I want to close the ul tag. So I do that again just by doing that, ul and that. Now I need to make sure I save it each time before I can go and look at my web page. You'll see it's red up here for unsaved. If I click on save, that is now saved. I can now open up my folder that I've got it saved in, and here it is. And I can double click on it and I can see it. So if I double click on it, there we go. So I've got my H1 tag here, which is a big tag. I've then got H2, which is a slightly smaller heading, and now you can see my bullet pointed list here, which was the code I've just created. So let's just quickly change that around because that's bugging me. That's better. It's spelled correctly now. If I did H3, for example, and then change that there as well to H3, so that gives me a smaller heading tag. Make sure I save it, and then if I reopen my web page, I can see, if I refresh the page, you can see it's still in bold, but it gets smaller too. Now another thing we can do is simply change this from ul to ol. So if I change that to ol and change this to ol, we'll then get something called an ordered list. Now if I save it and we go back to the web page, you'll now see it's a numbered list, 1 and 2. So that allows us to do a numbered list, okay, which again is very useful in some cases. Right, so let's carry on looking at a couple more tags. So we've had a quick look at ul and ol, which is really useful. Another one that's really useful is the img tag, which is the image tag. So we need to use this in a couple of different ways, which I'll explain in a minute. And this will allow us to actually have an image in our web page, so we can start making it look good. So, just like before, we open up our tag using this, and then we're going to type img. Now we need something else with the img tag. We need the location of the file. So it's the source of the file. So basically, where is it in our folder structure? So if I put src here, that's going to tell the computer where it is. I use an equal sign and then a speech mark. Now you can see here, I've got it here. This is my image, and I've got it saved into the same folder as my website. Now this is really super important. If this is going to work, you have to have the image in the same folder as the actual website. Otherwise, it's just not going to find it. Now, the other important thing is you need the file ending. So if we have a look here, you can see this is a PNG shown here on the screen. So I have to go subnautica.png. Okay. Now, there's some other things I can do. First thing I need to do is close off these speech marks. Now, I can do something called alt text. Now, alt text is really important for people that are visually impaired, because what this does is, if you've got a screen reader, it will tell the person using the screen reader what is on the screen. Okay, so that is a really good thing to do to, to help people engage with websites that might be visually impaired. Now, I can also set the height and the width of the image if I wish to. So I can go height equals, and then I can say, I don't know, 200 pixels. And then I can also do width equals, and I could say do this 300 pixels. Okay, so that sets the width, and then finally I close the tag like that. Now, unlike other tags, we don't close it. So this is one of the exceptions to the rules of open. If you open a tag, you always have to close it. This should now just work as it is. Okay, so that will now have a quick check to see if that works. Refresh the page, and it works beautifully. There is my image of one of the best games ever, Subnautica. Okay, so now from this lesson you can create lists, you can do titles, you can also add images to your website. Well, we'll move on to more content next time, but for now, thanks for watching and we'll catch you next time.